What if I told you that one man stole $65 billion from thousands of people, including celebrities, banks, and charities? Meet Bernie Madoff, the man who ran the largest financial fraud in human history for over 20 years, right under everyone's noses. For decades, Bernie was one of Wall Street's most respected figures. He was chairman of NASDAQ, a pillar of the Jewish community, and trusted by the world's elite. But behind the success was the most elaborate lie in financial history. Today we'll uncover how Bernie fooled everyone, why nobody caught him, and how it all came crashing down. Bernie Madoff started his investment firm in 1960 with just $5,000 borrowed from his father-in-law. He began as a legitimate trader, making money through real investments and building a solid reputation. Throughout the 70s and 80s, Bernie's firm grew rapidly. He became known for consistent returns, exclusive membership, and personal relationships with clients. People begged to invest with him. Bernie created an aura of exclusivity. You couldn't just invest with him. You needed connections, referrals, and significant wealth. This made people want in even more. Nobody knows exactly when Bernie started the fraud, but experts believe it began in the early 1990s, during market downturns, when he couldn't deliver the promised returns legitimately. Here's how Bernie's scheme worked. New investors' money was used to pay fake returns to existing investors. No real investing happened. It was just moving money from new victims to old ones. Bernie promised steady 10 to 12% annual returns, regardless of market conditions. When markets crashed, Bernie's investors still got their promised returns. It seemed too good to be true, because it was. Bernie's victims included Hollywood celebrities like Kevin Bacon and Kira Sedgwick, baseball legend Sandy Koufax, and Nobel Peace Prize winner Elie Wiesel. Even major banks and charities invested billions. Bernie avoided detection through several methods. He kept his investment advisory business separate from his trading business, used a small accounting firm, and had connections throughout Wall Street and regulatory agencies. Financial analyst Harry Markopolos spent years trying to expose Bernie. He sent detailed reports to the SEC proving the fraud mathematically, but regulators ignored him for nearly a decade. Bernie's sons Mark and Andrew worked at the firm but claimed they knew nothing about the fraud. His wife Ruth and brother Peter were also deeply involved in the business operations. The 2008 financial crisis was Bernie's downfall. As markets crashed, panicked investors wanted to withdraw $7 billion. Bernie only had $300 million left. On December 10, 2008, Bernie called his sons to his office and confessed everything. He told them the investment advisory business was one big lie and that he was finished. The next day, Bernie's sons reported him to authorities. FBI agents arrested Bernie at his Manhattan penthouse. The man who stole $65 billion was finally caught. In 2009, Bernie pleaded guilty to 11 federal felonies. The judge sentenced him to 150 years in prison, the maximum possible sentence. He would die behind bars. But the real tragedy wasn't Bernie's sentence. It was the thousands of lives he destroyed. People lost their life savings, retirement funds, and dreams. The scandal destroyed Bernie's family. His son Mark committed suicide exactly 2 years after Bernie's arrest. His other son Andrew died of cancer, believing the stress contributed to his illness. Investigators worked to recover stolen money. They seized Bernie's homes, boats, jewelry, and artwork. So far, they've recovered about $14 billion for victims, still less than 25% of what was stolen. Bernie's fraud exposed massive failures in financial regulation. New laws were passed requiring better oversight, but experts warn that determined fraudsters can still find ways to deceive. Today, Bernie Madoff sits in federal prison in North Carolina. He's 85 years old and will never see freedom again. He claims to feel remorse, but many victims don't believe him. Bernie's scheme teaches us important lessons. Be suspicious of guaranteed returns, verify credentials independently, and remember, if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. Bernie wasn't the first major fraudster, and he won't be the last. From Elizabeth Holmes to Sam Bankman-Fried, financial fraud continues to evolve and adapt. Bernie Madoff's story reminds us that greed and deception can destroy countless lives. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of history's greatest frauds, subscribe for more incredible true crime stories. What fraud stories should we cover next? Let us know in the comments.